Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to Cosmic Consciousness with Kassia. On this channel, we discuss all aspects of the ascension process. I have a variety of services that I offer to assist in your awakening journey, and you can find those listed in the description box below. Today, we're going to be talking about the full moon total lunar eclipse in Scorpio. And it is a little bit more of a mouthful than you might think to get that all out. But yes, this eclipse is going to be powerful. And I'm sure you guys have already been feeling it. We ended on April 30th with that new moon partial solar eclipse in Taurus. And that was a really powerful, beautiful energy. And we had some activation of some of the elements that we're going to be talking about with this lunar eclipse. But the energy, it was different, right? It was a solar eclipse. We were bringing in all of this beautiful, bountiful energy. And there was an intensity to it, but it wasn't quite the same as what we're feeling right now. It was kind of the opener. And now we're at the grand finale, at least until the fall when we have another set of these eclipses in Taurus and Scorpio. But this is really setting the stage in some ways for what we're going to be working through as we move into that eclipse. And then into 2023 as well, when we have one more set of eclipses in Taurus and Scorpio as part of the eclipse lineup for 2023. This energy, and I know for everyone who's been feeling this energy, hearing me say that we're getting into it and we're going to continue to be working through it probably doesn't feel very good, because it can be a very heavy energy. We are working with the energies of that Taurus-Scorpio axis, with the emphasis during this eclipse on the Scorpio energy. Scorpio energy is deep. It is sometimes dark, right? It gets to the heart of matters. There's a lot of shadow material that we work with when we're working with the energy of Scorpio. And that is exactly what this eclipse is delivering. A deep purge of the aspects of our psyche, of our emotional bodies, of our energy bodies, that is necessary in order for us to move into this next stage of our ascension journey. We are experiencing this eclipse as a huge helper in helping to purge and release some of these heavier energies that really started being brought to the surface when we experienced that conjunction of Neptune and Jupiter last month. That was a beautiful, beautiful energy. It brought in a lot of light, but as all that light is now coming in and integrating the darkness that has existed within us as well, really has no space. Right? There's no place for it to be, so it's being pushed out. And this Scorpio eclipse is a huge instigator in this energy of sort of this detox of the spirit and this massive purge of the shadow self. The entire month of May, we're really going to be feeling these energies. And like we said, we're going to be working with these energies all the way through, not just these Scorpio energies, though, also these Taurus energies. All of the stuff that came through with that Taurus new moon eclipse, we're going to be feeling that energy too, but we're also going to be working with this energy of the shadow. Remember, these energies are very linked. This is what we refer to as the axis of enlightenment. And nobody said that enlightenment was a smooth and gentle process all the time, right? So we have these beautiful aspects of the Taurian energy. We have this energy of presence. We have this energy of anchoring into our bodies, anchoring into this physical incarnation and being fully embodied and incarnated. Right? And all of the energies as far as abundance and worthiness. But then we also have these Scorpio energies that we're continuing to work with that are highlighted during this eclipse, so we can really dig into them. And that includes the mastering of the emotional body and the integration of the shadow. So we are bringing what needs to be brought to light so that we can view it, so that we can clear it and integrate it within our being. And yes, Mercury retrograde started officially today as I'm filming this video. So if I'm a little bit tongue-tied, you guys just bear with me. That is one of the hallmarks of Mercury retrograde. If you guys did not check out that video yet, it has been released. So go ahead and check that out. It's going to be a powerful retrograde. But yes, it's this energy of integration, this understanding that within our shadow are contained our greatest gifts, right? Our greatest blessings. And so for all of us who want to step more deeply into our gifts, right, to really shine our light, we have to be willing to dig deep into the shadow first. We have to be willing to turn over the rock and look at what's under there. And so the more willing we are to do this, the more we are going to feel that psychic activation as well. Remember, Scorpio is a very psychic energy. And so we are going to be receiving a massive activation of our gifts and our abilities. But we have to be willing to go there. We have to be willing to face what needs to be faced, because a lot of those gifts and abilities are buried under a lot of trauma, right? There's a lot of shame. There's a whole lot of heavy emotion that is sort of like, what's the analogy that I want to use here? It's just, we have all of these beautiful, gorgeous jewels and gifts of ours, and then the layers of sediment that have sort of been piled on top of them that are lifetimes and lifetimes of trauma and suffering and all of these heavy, heavy emotions, right? And so in order for us to reclaim those gifts, we have to be willing to do the work. That and don't worry, the work is going to reveal itself. It's not something we need to go looking for during and around this eclipse time and through this month of May. It's going to be staring us right in the face. And so our choice then is what we do with that, right? Do we try to bury our heads deeper in the sand, or do we look at what's being shown to us? Do we feel it? Remember, Scorpio is a feeling sign. And so one big part of this energy is being willing to feel it, not running away from the feeling, not trying to escape. There is no escape from yourself. All right. So the major aspects of this eclipse, and we talked about this aspect when we talked about, sorry, I'm trying to clear something off my screen here. When we talked about the new moon solar eclipse in Taurus, because it was already active. So we've been feeling the tension of this Saturn being squared by the nodes for quite a while now. We have the North Node and the South Node with Saturn right in the middle. So this, technically it's called a T-square with these nodes of fate. And now during this eclipse, we have the moon lining exactly up with that South Node in Scorpio and the sun lining up with that North Node in Taurus. And so you can see here how interesting this is, right? Because we have the South Node, which represents the past energies, right? These scorpionic energies, and also the moon, which represents our emotional nature. And so we see where that deep emotional purge is coming out. And we see this energy of the past, right? So past traumas coming to the surface. This is past life. This is childhood. All of those, that's where the deep, deep stuff lies. And so we're really digging deep into that. We're digging deep into our childhood wounds. We're digging deep into our past life wounds, to collective wounds, in order to release those. And we're going to feel that detox and that release on an emotional level. Then we have that sun, right, which represents our consciousness. It represents our ego, our sense of self, where we're going. And we see that lined up with the North Node, lined up with our purpose and our passion, and with where it is that we're headed. And so there is this whole new consciousness that's dawning for us. If we are willing, like we said, to go into the emotion, right? To go into the intensity of that emotional purge. If we're willing to look at the past, to feel the past, and to release the past, then we are really able to move powerfully toward our future, right? And so with this Saturn energy as the focal point of this T-square, and we talked about this in the last video, Saturn is asking us if we're ready to grow up, if we're ready to take responsibility. So this eclipse, in addition to being a massive purge, right, is also asking us to step up. It is occurring at 25 degrees of Scorpio, which is an Arian degree. All right, so we got that Aries energy. We have Jupiter entering Aries the day of this eclipse. And we also have a lot of action going on with Mars and Pluto, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But there is this call to action. There's this call to step up and assume responsibility. Where is it? It's kind of like a Saturn returned sort of energy, where we're all being asked to grow up a little bit more, to assume a new level of responsibility. With great power comes great responsibility. We have to prove that we are worthy, right? And so the way that we do that is through our action. It's through the steps that we take. Saturn wants us to take the lessons that we've learned and apply them, right? To utilize that wisdom. Wisdom is applied knowledge. And so where are we ready to step into a greater role of responsibility? Where is it that we are ready to take the inspired actions that we're being called to take? And we are going to be feeling a lot of inspiration in our actions as we have Mars conjunct Neptune in Pisces during this eclipse as well, and the days surrounding it. So there is a higher motivation here. We're being asked to act from that place of higher spiritual discipline and motivation, to really look at what is in the best and highest good for everyone involved in all of our choices and decisions. We have Mercury and Neptune in a mystic triangle with the sun and the moon, and we also have Pluto in the same configuration, and this means that one aspect being made is a sextile and the other aspect being made is a trine. And so what's interesting about this is that Mars and Pluto are both the rulers of Scorpio. Mars was the ruler of Scorpio before Pluto was discovered, and then Pluto became the ruler of Scorpio. And so both of Scorpio's ruling planets are aspecting and influencing the sun and the moon. And they're doing so in a very beneficial fashion. So this is that energy of stepping into our power, of embracing our power, of being given that gift and that opportunity to own our power if we're willing to do what is asked of us. If we are willing to look at our shadow, to feel our emotions, to dive deep, right? It's that energy of diving for light. Are you willing to dive deep? Are you willing to step up to the mantle? Are you willing to take the actions that are required to assume the next level of spiritual responsibility and spiritual maturity? And if you are, then there are plentiful, plentiful gifts waiting for you. All right, so let's get some energy here. I want to pull, we're going to pull a couple dark mirror cards to get some of the shadow energies that we may have coming up. This is a really great shadow deck for anyone who is interested or looking for a shadow deck. Clear. So let's get some energy here for this Scorpio total lunar eclipse. What is coming up for people? What shadow material is being revealed? Remember, like we said, there's a lot of wounded inner child stuff coming up. All right, there's a lot of our past, as well as far as past lives go, a lot of collective karma, individual karma that we're clearing. I mean, this is powerful, powerful stuff. This is definitely the kind of eclipse and the kind of moon where you want to give it yourself plenty of space, all right? If there is a potential, whatever was a potential for people to be acting, acting a little wild, this full moon is it. And so spending the night indoors, probably not a bad idea. We will, of course, be doing a full moon ceremony, as we always do. If you are interested in that, the information is in the description box below. We're going to be doing that on the 16th at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This moon, if I did forget to say so, is occurring the 15th through the 16th, the night of the 15th into the 16th. So, and depending on where you are in the world, we're going to be doing it on Monday the 16th. Let me go see what card just flew out here. If I can. Okay, good. All right. Fated to suffer. And you notice here we have, it's kind of like the witch offering the apple, right? So this reminds me of Snow White. Or is it Sleeping Beauty? Those are two different, right? Whichever one it is with the apple, I think it's Sleeping Beauty, right? And so this is temptation. This is karma. This is belief systems. Many of us, for one reason or another, we have these belief systems that we were meant to suffer. All right, and this is something that we're even taught in the spiritual community, right? This energy, this idea that we came here to suffer. And I do think that that's part of it, right? Because that suffering teaches us a lot. But that doesn't have to be our fate. All right, so there's this energy of feeling, it's like feeling like we deserve to be punished. I feel that energy coming up for some people. Feeling as though it's like we're looking at our ancestry and we're saying, well, there's a generational curse. You know, it's like that energy. It's like no matter, it's that defeatist kind of an energy of like, no matter what I do, I'm going to suffer. Things are going to be painful. Life is painful. This is a belief system. Life is hard. Life is painful. We were born to suffer. And this, to me, this witch with this apple, it's kind of like offering people that opportunity to continue playing the victim or to continue to giving over power to something outside of ourselves, right? Like fate seems so much bigger than us. There's nothing I can do. I can't consciously create, right? I am fated to suffer. This is my destiny. And there's a lot of people on here who identify as empaths and heyokas, right? Who identify with the path of suffering, who came here, and part of how your gifts and abilities were activated was through this energy of suffering. And some of us, we've become so used to suffering that it's almost become an addiction. That's what I'm feeling for some people here, is really coming to understand that you're addicted to suffering. And it may not be in the obvious way. And remember when I say all of this, I'm saying this with love, and I'm relating to a lot of what I say. I read for myself just as much as you guys. The reason that our energy connects is because we're all on a similar wavelength and we have very similar journeys, okay? So please don't take any of this personally when I say it. But you know, like that person in your life that very clearly is addicted to drama, they're addicted to chaos. They're not happy unless they're unhappy. We know the person where that's very obvious. But some of us may be realizing that we have aspects of that energy within us and we didn't even realize it. Where some aspect of us is still addicted to that suffering or still attached to that suffering. And we're getting this opportunity during this eclipse. Remember, we keep talking about choice points with that Saturn square the nodes energy. Right? The path forward or the path backward. Which path do we want to choose? Do we want to? It's like the apple here represents the temptation to sink back into that energy. To sink back into that energy of victimhood. To sink back into that energy of powerlessness. Right? Let's get some more energy here. Actually, you know what I want to do? I want to pull a couple tarot cards on this before we continue. I'm really being... Tell me more about this fated to suffer. Clear. All that glitters is not gold. That quote is coming to mind right now. There's this energy of somebody being offered something in the past that turned out to not be what it was presented as. This could also be situations with people, with relationships where somebody portrayed themselves one way and then they turned out to be something different. There's a lot of this energy of betrayal is what I'm feeling here as well. Wounds of betrayal coming out. And once again, when we continue to ruminate over somebody who hurt us or betrayed us, right, and we focus on the energy of that betrayal, we're playing the victim. So it comes back down to that victim mentality again. All right. Oh, interesting. So we have the King of Wands and the King of Cups coming out for this fated to suffer energy. Noting that we have the Hermit on the bottom of the deck here. Tell me more. Tell me more about this fated to suffer, these kings. Got the Six of Cups coming out here. And the Hierophant. Interesting. Which is Taurus energy. Okay, so there's a, I mean, right off the bat, when we see these two kings, right, we think about two people, two masculines, maybe. But it's almost like, it also feels like two sides, right? We have the emotional side, the empathetic side, and we have the fiery side, the passionate side. Let me feel into this energy for another minute, you guys. What's coming out here? What this has to do with the fated to suffer. I feel like this is like a, this is somebody who, it almost feels like the energy. So this is a past life energy. It almost feels like the energy of, you know, when they had arranged marriages back in the day. The majority of marriages were arranged, I do believe, in older times. They were about, you know, resources, alliances, different things like this. So it almost feels like somebody who was in love with somebody but was married off to somebody else. And so there's still a pain here from this experience. Because we had the Six of Cups, but it was inverted. I don't always read reversals. I always say that and then I end up reading them. So maybe I do read reversals. I don't know. I feel into them, but a lot of times they do feel accurate. And so it's like, the pattern here, the karmic pattern, the shadow pattern here is lifetime after lifetime where you feel like you can't have the person that you want. For whatever reason, you end up with somebody who's wrong for you or who's not a match for you. And sometimes, very much not so. Sometimes somebody who's toxic or bad for you, but somebody who's not right for you. As opposed to choosing the person or having the feeling that you have the option to be with the person who is right for you. Yeah. So this is a wound that's coming up for somebody. This energy of I always want what I can't have. This energy of I'm fated to suffer and be alone because the person I want is never available. And so for some people, this may be also like a way that this energy is playing out for those that this relates to is like always falling in love with married men, with men that are taken, or women, right? We have two masculine energies here, though. So I'm definitely feeling, but it can go either way. Don't get hung up on the gender or anything like that. falling in love with people who are taken, right? Ending up even as the third party in a situation. This is even like settling for somebody who's not quite right for you. And then meeting the person of your dreams and feeling trapped, feeling stuck. And then it's like, well, what do you do then? How do you act in integrity in that situation? Interesting. Okay. And then with the Fool inverted on the bottom of the deck, it's like, it's just indicating that there's a cycle where there hasn't been progress in this up until this point. Because the new beginning hasn't happened. Something different has to be done. And sometimes it's just having the awareness of the cycle and why it started. So if this is resonating with you, then this may be for you. This is a bit specific, so it's not going to be for everybody, but it will be for some. It's like this energy of being afraid to take the leap, holding yourself back from what it is that you truly want because you don't think you deserve it or you just don't think that you can have it. Right? Fated to suffer. All right, let's see what else wants to come out here. What other shadow energies are we working with during this lunar eclipse in Scorpio? Calling the storm. That was on the bottom of the deck and it wanted to come out. And Masquerade. This Calling the Storm is interesting. I haven't seen this card before. I want to see what they have to say about this. I think the Masquerade is pretty self-explanatory. Let's see. The eye of the storm being that calm in the center of the storm, right? Power comes not from the inside, but from connection and integration to a greater whole. Interesting. I'm going to read this for you guys. Some of these have really weird readings, so I'm just warning you guys ahead of time. But I feel like I want to read this one. It says, there is time to find and release our power. Like a spring that had been compressed to the point it has lost the memory of motion and movement. Yet there is power inside it. Finding it is called empowerment. It starts from the belief in our power. It is our ability to cope, to fight, to endure, to overcome a challenge. However, too often we are encouraged to see empowerment as something that happens only within, in our psychological space. We are not necessarily islands. We can borrow the power of the world around, the context, the environment, the expectations. We do not control the storm, we just call it. To call the storm, we need to not fear it. And this is what will make us strong. After the storm, there is always sun. So if the sky has been gray for too long a time, it's time not to fear the storm, but to embrace it. It will grow up and devour our chains and our jailers. And it will hurt us as well. But it will be healthier than just staring at the chilly rain. We can restart only after we let ourselves end. Interesting. So this to me feels like the energy where we're being called, if we've been sitting in an energy for too long where things have been stagnant, we may be being called during this eclipse to be the person that shakes up the energy. To be the... This is kind of like the energy of being like the... being the person that sets off the chain of events that creates that perfect storm for change, being the catalyst, right? And we do talk about this energy of being the catalyst. So for some of us, it's like we've been feeling the storm coming for quite some time, but nothing's actually being shaken up. Nothing's actually moving. And so we are being called to take control of a situation. Whether this is like calling people out, whether this is making the move that needs to be made. Like if you're in a stalemate situation with someone and neither one of you is making a move, you may be being called to take that. You may be being called to take that and make that first move. To really step into the chaos. Which is interesting. And for some people, it's like, with this masquerade card here, you have been hiding your true self for too long, hiding the way you truly think or feel in a situation. And the reason you've been doing so is to keep things balanced, is to prevent the storm, right? Because you know what's going to happen if you drop the mask. Right? If you stop pretending. But this energy is calling you to stop pretending, to put the mask down, to be honest. Even if, pardon my French here, but even if your honesty creates a shitstorm. That's kind of the energy here. This is also the energy for some where it's like we're starting to realize that we have been the force of chaos in our own lives. And this is once again going back to that victim mentality. We've been seeing ourselves as a victim of circumstances or other people. And now we're realizing how we are creating all these circumstances. How we are actually the shit stirrer in the situation. Where maybe we thought the other people were to blame. All right, so there's a lot of energy with this eclipse of like us getting real and honest about where it is that we are causing the chaos and destruction in our own lives. And where it is that we are perhaps not as evolved spiritually as we thought we were. We're being shown that so that we have an opportunity to grow. We have an opportunity, instead of waiting for the storm, instead of waiting for the other shoe to drop, to take action. Yeah, and I'm feeling that energy too for some people. It's like that energy of really seeing and approaching that side of you that feels like, it's like the fear of the calm. You know, some people are afraid of the calm. Some people are afraid of the calm before the storm. Some people are addicted to chaos because they don't know how to be in the quiet. And so are you always creating chaos in your life because you don't know how to be present with you? Because you're wearing a mask even to yourself. And if you were to take that moment, take that pause to breathe, then you would have to, the mask would start sliding off. It's like we're all seeing where it is that we wear a mask, where it is that we put up a fake persona, even to ourselves, especially to ourselves. A lot of us, it's like, it's a level of denial that is being stripped away during this eclipse, or we're seeing something about ourselves that we hadn't seen or recognized before. And it's not necessarily pretty, right? That's what the shadow is all about, right? We're seeing where it is that we're playing a part in our own lives, where we may have not even recognized we were doing so. Alone in the world. All these energies of abandonment coming out as well. These energies feeling alone. Feeling like it's me against the world. Right? That kind of a mentality. Vulnerability. Notice how she's naked here. This energy of vulnerability coming up for people. Where it is that we feel exposed and vulnerable. Where it is that we may have worn a mask in order to hide our own vulnerability. For some people, there are going to be Relationships where the true nature of our relationships are revealed, right? The masquerade is up. The jig is up. Where people are falling out of our lives, right? Our vibration is not resonating, or we're seeing that our connection was based on something that wasn't real. And so there's this energy of loneness. As more and more truth gets revealed, not only to each other, but to ourselves, right? Within ourselves, there is this significant energy of loneliness. But for some reason, they're reminding me, this is a number 6 card. And now I'm being reminded of the Lovers as a number 6 card too. So I feel like another message coming through for somebody is, if you are feeling particularly alone right now, especially if you're going through a breakup or something like that, or you've just been alone for a really long time, you need to go through what you're going through right now to prepare you for the person that you're meant to be with. For somebody listening to this too, the person you were with is not the person for you. You may have been very, very convinced that they were, right? But they were not. It was a masquerade. You thought that they were showing their truth self to you, but they were not. Or you thought that you saw the truth in a situation, but you didn't. All right, and you're meant to be alone right now. You're meant to be vulnerable. You're meant to be stripped down to nothing. Because that experience is necessary in order to prepare you for the person that you actually are meant for. And on the bottom of the deck here, we have the Temple of My Body. So a lot of energies of self-worth, self-love when it comes to the ways that we are able to appreciate our physical bodies, right? Any of us who are judgmental of our physical appearance, who have these insecurities around our physical selves, this inability, it's like this inability to accept ourselves as we are and to love ourselves. That's what this comes down to. We can really notice sometimes the level of love that we have for ourselves by the level of care that we take of ourselves and our physical vessels. Right? Where is it that we have that we have become alienated from our bodies? Where we have tried to escape our physical bodies? Where we have, all of these judgments. Right? This energy of we have to look a certain way in order to be loved and accepted. And it's not by other people. This is the energy of like, it's deeper than that. It's like, I have to look a certain way in order to be loved and accepted by myself. But that's not real. That's not self-love, right? That's conditional. And that's not self-love. And so we're learning and we're seeing and we're understanding what's underneath that for some of us. Right? So anyone who's dealt with issues of disordered eating, body dysmorphia, all of these different things, that stuff coming up to the surface for people as well. Where it is that we've allowed ourselves to be disconnected from our bodies. Where it is that we've mistreated ourselves and our physical vessels. All right, what do I want to do to close here for you guys? Let's see. Yeah, we're going to do a Sacred Rebels card. What's some guidance for us as we navigate this full moon eclipse in Scorpio? Give us some closing guidance. All right, so we have Beyond the Mind, the Heart Beats, card number 21. I'm going to read this for you guys. In the chaos of modern life and the constant fluctuations of our minds, it can be difficult to remember that a sublime sanctuary lies within. Yet it is always there. Beneath the ceaseless activity, there is an endless, yet vast spaciousness that restores and connects us to something greater, something that exists outside of time. Some might call it eternity. Within that sanctuary, sacred sound is felt rather than heard. That sacred sound is actually the reverberating heartbeat of the entire universe. Your own heart's rhythm sounds within the greater universal heartbeat. The totality of life, all of your being, can be felt as one through listening to and feeling for the sacred sound of the heart beating within you. It is through this heartbeat that we experience a love that is more than preference or attachment. This is the love that inspires, energizes, and moves us to create, even beyond what we once thought was possible. Your love for life, the need to feel alive and express yourself, and the quest for that which is truly fulfilling, which are all also very scorpionic things. These are the sacred urges that rebel against fear and promote passion for being alive. They flow through your blood and can be felt through the beating of your heart. And remember, when we let go of all the things that are not true, that do not have true meaning for us, as we drop the mask and the masquerade, we're able to really focus in on what has true meaning for us. This oracle has a message for you. There is the way of the mind, which can make mountains out of molehills, even when it thinks it is turning mountains into molehills. Then there is the way of the heart. It is subterranean and moves subtly beneath possible obstacles, intelligently shifting with exquisite sensitivity, sensing the way forward through dangerous pathways and responding to what is before it even occurs in the physical world. However, with the heart's intelligence, we cannot see and know in the same way that we do when we allow the mind to direct us. We have to be open to another way if we want to benefit from the innate intelligence of the heart. The mind sees, plans, and strategizes. The heart feels, responds, senses, and intuits. When we walk the path of the heart, we must feel and respond rather than plan our way. It is a different way to live and create. It is closer to the earth and to the source of life itself. It is not for those who are lacking in courage and trust, but you are not one of those. You are being asked to trust your heart and to drop into it. The mind is important, but it cannot supplant the heart. The role of the mind is to serve the truths of the heart. Ooh, I like that. We're going to read that again. The role of the mind is to serve the truths of the heart. That is to create the spacious chamber of receptiveness into which the sacred rhythm of your heartbeat can resound. This oracle comes with guidance for you. Deep within, you know what to do and you know what is true. It matters not whether the mind and its plans seem to agree with your inner sense. Your willingness to trust your heart and to rebel against fear will serve you well. Let your heart guide you. Be sure of your trust and faith in what you feel. Your head and heart have been in conflict at times over the course of your life. This has brought you struggle and sometimes deep suffering. However, this oracle brings you the message that a truce will soon be declared, and the appropriate outcome of the mind waving the white flag of surrender is imminent. Soon, if not already, you will finally be feeling that your heart is leading you. And so this is really significant for everyone who has been really becoming acutely aware of their minds, the fuckery of their minds, and the way that their mind works as their enemy, the way that your mind is counterproductive, right? So many of us, we fall into this energy where the mind is really our tormentor rather than an energy that helps and assists us. And so if you are in this energy where you're really feeling like you are a victim to your own mind, this oracle is coming through to tell you that you are, if you are in that journey, as so many of us are, most of us are, right? Of moving from the head to the heart, of learning how to let the heart rule and the mind follow. Know that you're making more progress than you think. And this eclipse, even with all of its intensity, especially perhaps because of all its intensity, is really going to help us to drop into our hearts more deeply, which is also very Scorpionic energy. Scorpio is all about heart, all about emotion, all about passion and feeling. So this moon is teaching us how to feel and how to allow that feeling to be our guide and how to act upon our desires, how to sense our desires, the true desires of our heart, right? Not the feeble desires of our mind and our ego, but the true desire of our heart. How to recognize the difference, how to step out of the ego, how to step out of the mind, how to step out of all of this, the shadow, right? The lies, step more deeply into the truth, really own and live that truth and own and live from that heart space. You will feel that your mind is learning to follow the guidance of your heart rather than trying to be out front, seeing and sorting everything out in advance in order to be safe. What a relief to let go of this old way. And this is why so many of us have been guided to step into the unknown, because as we step into the unknown, we are forced to let our hearts guide us. Right? Our minds wouldn't guide us into the unknown. Our minds want us in the known, where they can plan, where they can strategize, where they have some sort of basis of interpretation. All right? Some sort of experience to compare things to. Our hearts are what lead us into the unknown, and they're what guide us through. Your mind can become more relaxed and trusting. There will be a period of adjustment as you get used to living without so much foresight, but with more insight, wisdom, and energy in the present moment to create. If you're finding that you cannot plan or strategize as you once did, or you feel that you know less than you have ever known about where you are heading or how you are supposed to get there, then this oracle comes as confirmation that these are healthy signs of a shift from a head to heart. You are not proceeding in error. You are exactly where you are meant to be, doing exactly what you are meant to be doing. You are now in a position that is more powerful than ever because you are allowing yourself to be guided by your heart, a heart that beats in harmony with the heart of all existence. Your affairs are in accord with love, and no matter what may appear to be at times, all is unfolding according to that greater love, you included. That is absolutely beautiful, and I think that is so perfect for so many of us right now. This journey from head to heart, it's a long one, you guys. I've been working on this for years and years. All right, so if you are more confused than ever, if you have no idea where you're going or what the hell you're going to do when you get there, you are in this initiation. All right, you are moving from head to heart. So congratulations. All right, you guys, I think we're going to call it for this reading. It's going to be a powerful, powerful full moon. If you guys want to join us for the full moon ceremony, as I said, the information on how to do that is in the description box below. 8:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Monday, the 16th. This is also the start of the Pleiadian portal on the 16th. And that goes until roughly the 24th or so of May. As we conjunct and move through that Pleiades star cluster located in the Taurus, in the energy of Taurus. And so, yeah, it's a powerful, the Pleiadians are sending out, they are all about love. They're all about heart. So they're really sending that extra heart energy. And we are going to be doing a reading tapping into more of the energies of the Pleiadian portal as well. That should be out right around the same time that this video is out. So make sure to check that out as well if you have not. On the bottom of the deck here, we have focus on the light. So with all of this darkness coming up, all of this shadow energy, like we said, it's going to make itself apparent. All right, so notice it. Take note of it. Pay attention to what's coming up. Don't resist the transformation. Don't resist the emotion. Don't resist the knowledge and the truth. And act upon it. But also know that there is so much beauty, and focus on the beauty within you, within the world. There's so much shadow energy, so much purging going on right now, that it's easy to find the darkness in people. It's easy to find what is undesirable in other people. But can you challenge yourself to find the light, to focus on the light, on what's good within yourself and within others, within the world? Yes, we want to transmute. We want to delve deep into this energy, right? Because like we said, our greatest gifts and treasures are found within that shadow. But we don't want to live there, and we don't want to get so absorbed by that energy that we forget that all is truly light, right? The shadow is just the absence. It's where the light isn't shining. So focus on that beauty within yourself, within others, within the world. Do the work that's being presented, but focus. Don't live there. Live here. All right? And dream that beautiful dream. Don't forget what it is that we're creating. Don't allow yourself to be suckered in by the mind, right, into thinking that things are hopeless. They are not. All right? We are dreaming a beautiful dream together. We are creating this beautiful new earth. So focus on that as well. Don't let that escape. Don't let that escape your mind. All right? Don't allow yourself to be fooled into thinking that because all of this darkness is coming out, it means that all is lost. Absolutely not. It is within our darkness that we are found. Okay? The reason that all of this purging is happening is because we've taken in so much light. All right? So acknowledge, bring awareness to the darkness, but walk through that darkness and focus on the light. Remember that we are this new earth. This is what we're creating. This is why we do everything that we do. All right? And our light, when we are deep in our shadow, sometimes it's really difficult to recognize the beauty and the purity of our light. It's harder to feel it, to connect with it. But your light, every time you delve into the shadow, your light becomes brighter. Just don't get lost in there. All right, you guys, I love you. I appreciate you. If these videos are helpful for you, make sure to hit that like button, drop a comment down below, share with anyone that you think would benefit from this information. If you feel so inclined to donate to the channel, there are links down below for that as well. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button and hit the button with the notification so you can get notified when more videos are released. I put out new videos all the time on a consistent, at least a weekly basis, sometimes more so. All right, you guys are amazing. I love you. I appreciate you so much, and I will talk to you soon.